Hey everyone, welcome back. You know, sometimes I think some things never really change,
Oh, tell me about it.
like family drama, right?
Hmm.
Sibling rivalry, playing favorites. Turns out it's not just a modern day thing.
Nope.
We're going way back, thousands of years actually, to unpack some serious family dynamics, biblical style.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
We're diving into Jacob's blessing to his sons, Genesis chapter 49.
Ah, classic.
You guys wanted to know more about legacy, prophecy, how this ancient text is still relevant today.
Absolutely.
So get ready. We're about to unearth some hidden gems together.
Yeah.
And it gets intense. Like right off the bat, Jacob knows the end is near, calls his 12 sons together.
Right, setting the stage.
You'd think it'd be all sentimental, like, I love you all equally, pass the tissues, that sort of thing. But no. This is more like Jacob's holding up a mirror to each son, giving them this brutally honest assessment, like about their character and what their future's going to look like.
It's true. It's not your typical deathbed scene.
And we're not talking about just any family here, right?
Yeah.
These are the 12 sons of Jacob, each one destined to become the head of a whole tribe of Israel.
Exactly. The stakes are high.
So, Jacob's words. They carry weight. They're not just a father's hopes. It's like he's laying out the blueprint for a whole nation.
It's a founding document almost.
And what I find fascinating is how each son gets this personalized blessing. And I use that term loosely because some of these, they're rough,
Oh, yeah. Tough love for sure.
but they're loaded with symbolism and meaning. Take Reuben, the eldest.
Firstborn should have it made, right?
Exactly. In those days, the firstborn son, he was basically royalty. Primogeniture, they called it.
Huge deal back then. All about authority, inheritance, carrying on the family legacy.
Everything. But Reuben, well, he kind of messed up. Big time.
Let's just say he wasn't exactly father of the year material.
Because Jacob says to him straight up, unstable as water, you will not have the firstborn's inheritance.
Ouch.
Right. Talk about a burn. But there's a reason it's this whole primogeniture thing. It wasn't just about being the oldest. It was about responsibility, being the leader, upholding the family name.
It was a sacred duty.
Exactly. And what does Reuben do? He sleeps with one of Jacob's wives.
Not cool, Reuben. Not cool.
Like, seriously not cool. A grave offense. It basically challenged Jacob's whole authority.
Yeah, you could even say it was a betrayal.
Absolutely. So he loses his birthright, his leadership position, consequences. This whole chapter really drives that home. Your actions have ripple effects, especially in families.
It's about the legacy you build, or in Reuben's case, the legacy you lose.
And we're just getting started. Up next, we have Simeon and Levi. Poster children for, sibling rivalry gone wrong, wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely. Those two were a handful.
Remember that city, Shechem, mentioned earlier in Genesis?
Vaguely, what happened?
Well, let's just say Simeon and Levi weren't exactly known for their diplomacy skills.
Ah, I see where this is going.
Jacob even calls their swords weapons of violence, which is pretty telling coming from your dying father, wouldn't you say?
Not exactly a glowing review.
Not at all. These two were responsible for a brutal attack on Shechem, definitely not winning any Son of the Year awards. Jacob sees their potential for, utter destruction.
He understood their nature.
So he curses their anger, predicts that they'll basically be scattered among the other tribes. It's like their actions have already determined their future.
Absolutely, they sowed the seeds of their own fate, as it were.
But then we get to Judah, and this is where things get really interesting.
Oh, yeah. Judah's blessing is intense.
It's less of a warning, more like he's looking into the future,
Yeah.
And it's a powerful future.
Definitely a turning point in the narrative.
Jacob uses this imagery of a lion.
Powerful symbol, right? Strength, kingship.
Exactly. He says the scepter will not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet.
The language here is so evocative.
It really is. And this is where we need our history hats for a second, because he goes on to say, until Shiloh comes.
Yeah, that's where it gets a bit cryptic.
Right. What does that even mean?
Well, like you said, it's been interpreted in many ways, but it's a key phrase that connects to the lineage of King David.
King David, slinging stones at giants, legendary warrior king. Everyone knows the story.
Exactly. And this passage, it became central to the idea of a Davidic line of kings.
So Jacob's not just talking about his son here. He's hinting at something way bigger.
A whole lineage. One that would shape the future of Israel.
It's like he's seeing generations ahead, kings and kingdoms rising up from his son.
That's the power of prophecy, I suppose.
Right. But, okay, let's not forget about the other sons. Each one gets their moment, their own unique assessment. Some cryptic, some Surprisingly accurate,
Well, they each had their strengths, even if Jacob didn't always phrase it that way.
That's one way to put it. Like Issachar, for example. Jacob compares him to a strong donkey.
Okay, not the most flattering comparison at first glance.
Right. Not exactly something you'd want on a Hallmark card.
Unless you're a donkey.
True. But you got to remember, this is an agrarian society we're talking about. A strong donkey. You need that. They do the work, carry the heavy loads, reliable.
The backbone, so to speak.
Exactly. So is he saying Issachar is going to be the workaholic of the family, carrying the weight of responsibility? Or is it more about their role in society, their willingness to, bear burdens, become the backbone of the nation, maybe?
I've always seen it as that, a commentary on their societal contribution.
I can see that. And that's what I love about these blessings. People have been analyzing them, debating them for centuries, They reflect different values, different understandings, depending on the time period, the culture.
It's a testament to their enduring power.
Absolutely. But at the core, they all come back to this idea of character influencing destiny. How who we are, even our weaknesses, can shape the paths our lives take.
You play the hand you're dealt, so to speak.
And the language itself, right? This isn't just your average, everyday conversation. Jacob uses these vivid, almost mythical images. Serpents, wolves, a donkey collapsing under its load.
He was a man of few words, but when he spoke...
It's intense, like he's channeling some ancient power, using the symbolism to convey this whole other layer of meaning.
And those layers, they run deep.
They do. And that's where it gets even more interesting, because these weren't just random animal metaphors.
Right. Each one was deeply ingrained in the culture.
So they're carrying all this baggage, these associations.
Well, it's like a whole language of symbolism.
Exactly. Take Benjamin, for instance. He's described as a ravenous wolf.
Ooh, yeah, not exactly warm and fuzzy.
Right. Sounds kind of intimidating, like this is not someone you want to mess with.
A force to be reckoned with.
So does it mean he's going to be aggressive, this fierce warrior? Or is it suggesting something else, like being a skilled hunter, the one who provides for his tribe, someone who fiercely protects what's theirs?
It's interesting, right? Because the tribe of Benjamin did become known for their warriors.
They did, but they also had this reputation for being shrewd, for being able to strategize, to adapt. It's like Jacob captured that duality in just a few words.
Fascinating how these ancient words could foreshadow their future.
It really is. Makes you wonder how much of who we are, who we become, is already there in those early years. Like, are we fulfilling some predetermined path, or do we actually have the power to write our own stories?
The age-old question, nature versus nurture.
But on a biblical scale. And, it's not just about these individual destinies either. It's easy to get caught up in the family drama, but we got to remember Jacob's blessing, it wasn't just about 12 guys and their personalities.
Right? It was laying the groundwork for a whole nation.
Right. Exactly. These sons, they weren't just brothers. They were becoming the founders of 12 distinct tribes, each with their own land, their own character, their own story to tell.
It's like he was giving each tribe a theme, a starting point for their identity.
And that is powerful stuff. Think about it. Those defining moments, even thousands of years ago, they can echo through history, shaping cultures, beliefs.
Absolutely. It's the power of origin stories.
Speaking of shaping history, we can't wrap up this deep dive without talking about Joseph, can we?
Oh, the favorite son. Technicolor Dreamcoat and all that.
Right. But also sold into slavery by his own brothers. Talk about family drama.
Yeah, that's got to leave a mark.
I mean, it's impossible to ignore the parallels between Joseph's story and what happens with Judah.
Because even though Judah gets the kingship prophecy,
Joseph ends up in the seat of power.
Right. Ironic, isn't it?
Totally. And it's through Joseph's actions, right? His ability to interpret those dreams, to plan for the future, that he ends up saving not just his family,
but a whole nation. He becomes this pivotal figure.
It's like this underlying message that even with these ancient pronouncements, this idea of destiny, there's still room for free will.
That your choices matter.
Exactly. They weren't just puppets on strings. They had the agency to act, to react, to change the course of things.
To carve their own path.
It's almost as if Jacob gave them the broad strokes, the outline, but they got to fill in the details with their own choices, their own actions.
Makes you think, what would your own blessing be?
That's a good one. If I could give my own descendants, my own kids, grandkids, if I could give them a guiding principle for their lives, some kind of symbolic blessing, you know what it'd be? Curiosity, to never stop learning, questioning, exploring.
To stay open to new ideas.
Exactly. And to remember that even these ancient stories, these echoes from the past, they still have something to teach us today.
They absolutely do.
about ourselves, about the human experience,
Couldn't agree more. There's always something to learn, whether it's in an ancient text or, like you said, right in our own backyards.
And there you have it, folks, our deep dive into Jacob's blessing. From sibling rivalry and ancient prophecies to donkeys, wolves, and the enduring power of family legacies.
We covered it all. Who knew a chapter in Genesis could be so action-packed?
Right. But on a serious note, I hope this inspires you to maybe take a closer look at your own family story, your own heritage. You never know what hidden gems you might uncover.
Happy digging, everyone.
Welcome to Charlie and Mia's podcast. We're embarking on an exciting journey to read through the entire Bible in just 1 year. Every day, we dive into Scripture, exploring its meanings and how it applies to our lives today. We invite you to join us on this incredible adventure of learning and discovery. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode.